So a big one here. Let's see, a matchup we thought we might have to end up seeing in the WTL playoffs that we never did see, as Clem just continued to win out, did not need Q to come out and ace against what would have been a Serral ace if Clem did not 2-0 Reno in that matchup. So let's see a little bit of how this goes. Q already playing very differently to how Clem played in the last TVZ against Dark, as he opts in for the couple of barracks on the low grounds, just gets that started up immediately. We'll be using that as a launching point for this game. Actually, one of the barracks is out on the map as well, so we're actually going to be quite aggressive then. One barracks at home, one barracks out on the map, and that's definitely a fun little combo, isn't it? Something a little different for sure. Let's just have our SCV coming back over, and yeah, so one of these barracks is indeed proxied up, and just going to be seeing how we make use of that over the next couple of moments as the first Reaper pops out at home. This does mean the second Reaper is going to arrive a little bit sooner than usual. That obviously should be a factor. That should be something that helps you a bunch here. As a couple of Reapers continue through, and they come up as well. Continue to get that on the go just for the moment. Well, I also see the couple of Reapers coming about there. Just going to go and try and fight a little bit. Just going to go after some dronies. So full drones taking damage. The Bling's still taking some shots. And we see have our Reaper continuing to fight around. That's where it gets pushed back on very low HP. So again, you get in kind of quickly. You try and deal some damage. Generally, Serral's defense is pretty good. And this is going to be one very definitive well, showing of that, essentially. You can see our couple of Reapers popping into the front, putting some damage out. We have our factory coming through. Just going to be seeing the reactor coming in. Set here, we just have ourselves a factory going to swap on over to the reactors. Just going to get going on that. And that's going to mean that we get a couple of Hellions on the way out. So, yeah, we're already switching in towards the next stage of this, in towards his ability to kind of get forwards and active with some Hellions, taking map control in general. And get that ready to rumble just for now. Reapers and the Hellions continue to move through. Clip coming about. Again, a couple of Hellions still building in as well. We just have ourselves the Rotor on the hatchery, a couple of drones, Lings, the Overlord, all continuing through for the moment, so we get a bit of everything on the way up. And the Reaper Hellion will continue out around to the left-hand side. The Rotron coming in from Serral, really looking to establish a fairly safe defense initially. As you see the Rotron coming through. And still building as well. We still have our stim pack about halfway done just for the moment too, so again, a bit of everything coming about as Lib Hellion continues in for now. And Reaper around on the bottom side, the last still coming up, the roaches and the drones and all the good stuff continue through. Hellion's already poking in, trying to get a little bit of something there as we press on forwards. Again, the Queen Roach going to be attempted defense, and so far pretty good. A couple of drones dropped down overall, but really fairly manageable for the moment. As we have the break, trying to find another way to get some damage done. Flies past a couple of Queens, taking some shots in the process, but they should be able to get in here and might actually have a shot at getting something done. So ain't so bad. All said and done now. Again, like to see that Q. Even just keeping that Liberator alive and giving yourself that option, right, to potentially find damage at a later point is, I think, very important as well. As you see, the roach speed is part of the build-up at the moment. Extra roaches on the way in. Evo Chamber's still producing. Get all of that coming through for now. Aliens and a Reaper or two up to the top side. Again, +1 attack. Combat shield coming in as well. Let's see those couple of Marines still gathering back together and have the +1 attack and combat shield coming through with the commitment to roaches. It's interesting, right? The commitment to roaches from Serral, like, he's not just going to use the roaches as a way to step towards Ling Bane later on, as we saw Dark doing a little bit of. He really is going to send these roaches with 1/1 missiles, infestation pick coming up, so this is just a real style from him that he wants to send with. So, yeah, Serral with a little bit of a different approach to maybe the expectations. He's trying to fight on the right side, going to get a Ravager cancelled up. The roaches trying to fight back against those Marines. The Marines do twist away. There's a couple little skirmishes going around. Most importantly, I think, is that I'm going to be seeing the Infestors on the way out as well, though, from Serral, so he's going to have a little bit of support for that Roach Ravagers. That also going to be adding up here, I'm sure. As the Medivacs pull back up to the top. And we just get a little bit of an unload going on. Again, 1/1 upgrades, vehicle weapons coming through for the moment. Roach coming around. A few Marines just going to start pulling back as well, so it's going to try and get out of there. Well, again, with that Roach army, especially if it's upgraded in the middle of the map, you don't really want to mess around with it, right? So Kyo's just like, no, let's not commit to a fight. Let's not take anything like that. Let's just continue on to a nice, happy, destination towards the later stages. Of course, Serral's fine with that. He's already got the Lurker and Hive coming through, so he really is just pounding ahead with his tech. Obviously, Roaches into Lurkers is kind of the style that is maybe not the most common or the most popular, but it is absolutely one of the ways in which you can play this out, and obviously we're seeing that exactly right now. Puzzling Roach Ravager Infested continues through, the Medivacs load up. They're going to come around just a little bit. Things going to be there to push those Medivacs back once more. Tanks, Marines, and Hellbats still joined together, and the other Medivacs coming over also. As you see, Medivacs getting ready to unload whenever necessary. A couple of these Medivacs still boosting about, so again, moving around for the moment, looking good. Two Medivacs, the tank, the Marines all coming about, as we do also have that Lurker Den just now finishing. With Hive done, we're going to dive straight into Lurker upgrades. The biggest problem I say with Lurkers when you're kind of going into them off the Roaches is that you've naturally, as the Terran, been building like a tank defense all game. So when you switch into Lurkers off of like Lingbane Hydra, you usually have this first wave or two where the Terran is not fully set up on tanks, right? So then the Lurkers can really push into positions very easily and very comfortably. Like, when you've been playing Roaches and the Terran's been able to build tanks from the start against those Roaches, being aggressive with the Lurkers is kind of a big no-no. Because how do you justify attacking into a Terran who already has a bunch of tanks that are going to just whack you real hard? Well, yeah, that ain't going to be easy, that ain't going to be comfortable for you, not in the slightest. So, definitely a potential problem that could arise here as we continue by. And we do see now as well, even if these tanks move forward aggressively, same idea. How do you attack into this when there's so many tanks set up? And in this case, Kyo takes advantage and puts himself in position on the other side of the map. So we'll get set up over here. Medivacs come through. We see ourselves the couple shots coming through. The Lurker's still going to hold tight. The Marines load back into the Medivacs. +3, +2, both still on the way up. See a few more cross of balance coming by, and Marines going to turn back around once again. The Medivac's still setting up in the center. tank and bio gathering up on the high ground. You see the medevac's going to load and make a bit of a play, so in they go. Oh, we lose one full medevac though, so that's a shame from Hugh. Just supply donated. Nothing gained from that. The medevacs get pushed back. He's on his way to those ghosts as the Corrosive Bowels hold back the siege lines, even knocking some tanks down. We come to a standstill, right, where Serral is able to kind of hold Kua off. Kua can't really get further forward because of it. I don't think Serral really has too many aggressive opportunities himself. The problem with hard lead is the base layout. All the bases are very close together, so defending one base really leads to you defending a lot of the other bases very easily, so it generally goes very well for you. So yeah, this is why the Terrans like this map. It's typically the Terran map pick coming into these matches. Like the firing from afar, hitting some more of those SCVs. Seeing the drop awards coming up. So that's why Serral's going to try and open up opportunities. Like I say, defending these bases for the Terran might be easy, but not so much if the Zerg starts attacking in ways the Terran is not expecting. The drop lords are absolutely that. Which Terran player expects the Zerg to start, you know, dropping units around? Well, Serral actually does it a fair amount, actually. I've seen him do it on Radu set a bunch when he ends up playing that map as well. Another map where it's difficult to find your way into positions at first. Drop lords coming around the left, and we do have the 3-3 coming through. Ghosts coming through, SCVs coming about. Our Vikings will be there immediately to push the overlords away, so first couple of overlords taking some damage, the units dropping off. We get in position right there. Just for the moment. The +3 attack is about to finish on the side of Kua, so you'll have that. Again, the Starport, the Fusion Core all coming in. The Nidus network is building from Serral as well. Continues to find himself harassing options. Maybe the drop lords didn't work, but maybe a Nidus can. Maybe a Nidus, even just keeping the Terran kind of attentive back at home can be a big benefit as well a lot of the time, right? So definitely things to look at there. As we do have a Spire coming up, so Overseer coming through. And again, just further carapace and upgrades in general. Keep on building in. There's actually a big fight up this right side. Ling, Ravager, Lurker gonna come pushing through all of a sudden. He's gonna jump on top of this base. Planetary Fortress takes a ton of shots. Gonna begin to go down right away there, so that's a lot of damage taken. And that is a good position for Serral to break into. So it denies the 5th base essentially for the moment. Now that's not going to be a forever thing, but it does slow you down as the Terran, stops you from feeling comfortable on your bases, and now you're thinking more about defense than anything else. This map is also interesting because the Zerg, when it comes to base count, there's not a lot of them, so you see Serral trying to take that upper right base. That's not an easy base to actually take. Like, realistically, you're not meant to be able to get that base. On a lot of other maps, the final base of the Terran is much more stealable as a Zerg. On this map, it isn't, so that's again a reason why this map is generally more preferred by the Terrans. That's why Serral's going to take that upper right base early. Any resources you can get off of it are generally going to be seen as a victory, and it may not be easily found later in the game, because like I say, it's just the kind of base you're not meant to be able to steal. But a Zerg who plays less efficiently than a Terran needs to steal one of the bases away, typically in the late game, unless you take amazing fights, or unless you crush through and you out-resource him before it comes down to that final base, right? So that is a fact he is. Once again, Serral so far, I'd say, is doing a great job of creating good fights. I mean, pushing in right away here, going to give himself the chance to get something done. Well, the Lurkers continue to attack through. We have a couple more libs on the way out. The Ghost Academy building all the tech coming up from Kua, but none of it's ready just yet to help with this siege position that Serral has now put into place. It really is quite the siege position that we've got going on. As the scan comes out, the few Lurkers is going to be pushed back a little further as the tanks get into defensive locations, and Serral just trying to play a little bit here and there. I like that Nidus. That's an escape route for the Lurkers. So the Lurkers will have a defensive option here in terms of getting out. So they can just jump into the Nidus. They are going to be saved. That's worthwhile. We scan there as Kua. He'll just swim across, finish the Nidus up. We'll try and chase these other couple Lurkers down, but they're probably going to go down too. They would have been better to also try and maybe grab a ride in the Nidus network. He gets a couple final kills. One more scan forced as well. So just trying to get absolutely everything he can out of each and every one of his units. As now we're going to get some abducts on Ghost as well. So punishing this chase that Kura had Serral jumps on that opportunity on the right side, makes very short work of it. Lucius reactor coming up, 6 additional liberators in production. As you get all of that coming through, plus 1 vehicle plating is about halfway done. And we do have ourselves the Vikings still patrolling a route on the far left, and the Overseers are going to pop through. Plus 3 melee coming around as well. I'm just going to see the hatchery top right side also getting into place. If additional liberators on the way for the moment. So we really do see where Hero's going to send this later on. Really wants to take that lib control. With that lib control, you're essentially going to force your opponent to play into the Corruptors, right? There's not really another option around that. So you're kind of somewhat doomed into what you must do. And Kira then, until libs come out, is going to be pretty content with his position as well, obviously. So that's why the libs are nice. Obviously you can abduct liberators, but the more liberators there are, the less realistic just abducting as a defense becomes, right? So now something you want to start being more aware of. As the unit's still pressing back for a couple of moments as well. Seconds coming through. Our first nuke launches. He is aiming for this base, and so far Serral has not picked up on it, so kaboom, and 10 drones go down. Serral gets nuked. Ooh, the little glancing smile from the grimace from Serral as he realizes the nuke went off, and he just didn't see it at all. So it does connect, and it connects in a big way. Not a bad start. Kua, who obviously right now does feel as though it's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, Kua's in a good late game spot. It's just it has been a Serral controlled game, so any little bit you can do to kind of draw it back in your favor a little bit is generally going to be positive. And this pops up here, but so do about 5 liberators, and that lurker is going to last, well, about half a second. To break through this base, mentioned about the idea of stealing this base and how important that may end up being. Obviously, for the moment, you do want to just then try and deny the Zerg from having it, as the lurkers actually come through, and the lurkers are going to fight that position off, so the defense is had in the top right. We try and launch a nuke again. This time Serral is already sending Zerglings over here, so he seems like he's aware. The Overseer doesn't get there in time, though, as the Lingers will in the end still get the Ghost, but not really much lost or gained right on that one. I think you're pretty okay with this as Serral. Cleanups continue. You win a little fight in the top right-hand side as well. Your bank is getting bigger and bigger. The Terran's bank is being used to try and clean up a lot of what you've already set up into as well, so it does just feel a lot more comfortable for you as the Zerg as it does for the Terran right now. Of course, the later this game goes, you got to remember that the way this matchup works is that the Zerg will continue to trade badly into the Terran, and so it is an act, right? Like, this bank that you own as Serral right now is likely to be dissipated throughout the course of this game still. So you just got to be very careful with that, and of course that's where just trying to find the best fights you possibly can comes into play. So, yeah, I like it a lot for Serral, but if Kua defends well enough, and if he's stalwart in his defense, if he's able to really hold Serral off, I can 100% still see a way in which Kua can succeed the deeper this goes. It happens a lot, right, where the Terran looks like they're in a bad spot, but they hold, and suddenly it's like, okay, the Terran gets the GG, because the Zerg just runs out of stuff. The Zerg runs out of their momentum. So, it ain't impossible for Kua to take a step back in this one. It's just going to be a very long process for him. It's not going to involve a lot of aggression. It's going to involve a lot of defending. What I am worried about is that Serral gets that left side base now as well. I mentioned stealing a base. Well, top right is finally taken out. But that left side base is now Serral's, and if Serral knocks this base down as well, Kua may struggle to take map control towards that location, which would be enough for him to then start clearing it out. So, yeah, this actually becomes quite concerning on the Terran side, because the Zerg is now mining that one additional base that's meant to be yours, so it's a 2 base net difference when it comes to resources available for both players. And like I say, Kua's not even been close to taking that left base. He's putting attention on the right side of the map instead. So yeah, good for Serral to then obviously notice that and to take advantage on the left and say, well, show me what you can do about it. You know, stop me. Stop me from taking your base. Stop me from mining here. As Kira is already kind of running out of money. Not quite maxed out just yet. Serral will need probably a couple fights at least to clean out the Terran army. He'll be going in with less army supply. Again, typically that's how the Zerg army works. The ability to fight, rebuild, and then to fight again. As Kira does successfully push Serral off of that base in the bottom right then, so the base we've just been praising Serral for being able to take on the other side of the map is now no longer his on his own side. Again, credit to Kua, because he's doing the things he needs to at least give himself a fighting chance in these deeper stages. considering the situation. Like, the best thing you can do is to try and take away some of that Zerg eco, because the longer it goes, if they get that economy up, you've got no hope at all. You've also got to play the short-term game as well, though, which is, right now, you've got a very large army and not a lot of money, so you also would like to try and make use of that in whichever way you can. If you can do that, that would also be fairly wonderful, so we'll see when the opportunities arise. The Liberators siege up on the left, so again, we're trying to deny some of the economy, some of the mining, especially on the bases that Serral is not really meant to own. The more of that we can do, the happier we are. As Corruptors move back, the Ling Bane continues through. Little snipes going down, the Corruptors take some damage. An additional ghost continued by, the Marines come up. Planetary Fortress is on the way, and still got the Corruptors making their way forward. We're going to go and jump onto a Liberator looking for more. The Bane's going to come by, and a lot of this army getting chased away also. We have another couple of Liberators sieging across the top of those orbitals too, so we continue in with all of that. It pushes over, and that tree will be taking some damage here, so there we go. That's what we kind of were talking about in terms of needing to deny some of these bases that Serral's trying to mine from. Even just Serral getting some of the mine off of these bases, though, it definitely adds up, right? Definitely gives you a good shot of being in a good place from here on out. Liberators continue over to the right, into the upper right corner. It's going to be chilling there as the Corruptors is going to show up as well. They're going to jump onto those libs, so the libs taking quite a bit of damage. That's what the Corruptors are made for. We absolutely need those against this amount of Liberators. We noted that early in the game that was just absolutely something we had to move towards, and obviously Serral has had us move towards it. Scanning about, and it is the Liberators to siege up once again. I see another nice sets up over there. The bio comes through. The hatchery is going to get jumped on. And I will say, Kua recently has been taking at least good positions on the map. Obviously, he still needs to take some fights, and I think in fights right now, he actually might still be okay, but then Serral's going to rebuild, and it is that Serral rebuild that's really going to be the extreme danger, the deeper that this game goes. The Liberators siege up, a couple creep teamers going down, Ultra Bane moving back up into the middle. We do have ourselves the rest of the bio coming around as well. We'll fire sig bombs onto the libs. I'm still just consuming up. Bio going to turn around a little bit. This Ling Bane still pushing forwards here. The ghosts are going to spread apart as we split back away from those Banelings. Banelings looking to find as much as they can. Corruptors getting rid of all these Liberators, Ultras, and Hydra's coming through as well. Kua just does not have a rebuild, guys. That is the issue. The bank is not there. As Serral rebuilds 70 Zerglings, Kua cannot match that in any way, shape, or form. And this 25-minute game begins to come to a close here in game number 1 of this series. Serral played just a very controlling game. In the end, like, there was definitely some moments in issue when Kura's push with those tanks. And I was like, okay, maybe this is his opportunity, but he got halted. And in halting him, I really feel like Serral gave himself every opportunity necessary for the rest of the game from there on out. Just have libs getting set up. But I'm unsure that those couple of libs will make the difference, especially when this amount of Corruptors comes to shut them down. We're going to try and chase up this ramp. May not be the most efficient of trades, but I think the numbers are going to allow it to happen. A few snipes coming down, some Ultras are dropping. Serral still has 4k to rebuild with. And obviously he's got back to that base on the left-hand side as well, so he's got even more good income still happening off 60 workers. Serral is not going anywhere. Not in this one. And Kua is eventually going to have enough of his army whittled away that he will just decide that GG is likely the best course of action for himself. And then you got to think ahead to game 2. Is, like I say, this is probably the Kua map pick in this best of 3. So that's a concern as well. Your map pick didn't exactly go your way. Now the odds stack against you a little further heading into the next maps. Players, of course, trying to lock themselves into playoff position. The today's games. So a lot on the line. Zabayo coming across here, gonna get a couple shots off. The Corruptors keep on coming through. Going to try and close X spray down. Obviously, as less liberators are around, the Corruptors aren't needed as much, so you can be more liberal with their usage. They do deny the right side base, where there's a good amount of mines still be had, so it is an important base that Serral will likely try and regain control of fairly soon. And it's nice for Kyo to make grabs like this, but then at the same time he's going to be losing bases, and he really can't afford that at all. Let's continue up. We do still see Liberate production actually being resumed as well. Corruptors coming about, Infest is coming in, a few more Banelings coming in as well. A little bit of everything getting set up here. As we are going to have ourselves the Ghost Marines, Marauder, and Libs continue to come by. Well, credit to Cure and his survivability. So you can see a whole bunch of Banes rolling forward right now, though, and I do kind of feel as though Cure is kind of being due getting out of this game. He actually does get a nuke off, but doesn't do too much. Again, that defensive Terran army can hold on for a while, and a lot of Serral's army supply is still in Corruptors, which means that Cure's army supply is able to hold on against the ground force. Because ground to ground, he's actually able to match to some extent. I mean, the problem still stands in the sense that you are, down a lot as QA. You don't exactly have many workers. Serral still has 3k banked, and try and launch the nuke on the army. And a bit of a last effort from QA, who no longer being defensive, in fact pushing forwards and having this fight happen is likely going to be perhaps what ends this game. But he had to try and do something, right? So I can't blame him for the effort. He realized that continuing through the way he was not sustainable. So hey, he takes a good defensive fight, he tries to come forward and take advantage of it. It's not going to be enough. He can see on his face, I think, the realization that this game is out of hand. So the GG is inevitable. And there it is. So, a couple of Reapers come through and just have ourselves again the Ling speed, the Lings, the Queen. A little bit of everything building up on that regard. So all that comes in for the moment. And a couple of Reapers and the SCV coming through as well. Just have this Reaper popping out. Just going to go adventuring forwards. Down towards the bottom left-hand side. So off on a bit of a journey there. Serral's Overlord still just scouting about. The Reaper continues into the bottom left. Moving across here, Hatchery is setting up as well. Just keep on wandering for a couple moments. And you just see the a couple queens, the Ling speed coming about. Got ourselves the extra Lings and so on coming through as well. And the Reaper's just gonna take position for a moment. Oh my goodness. Screen went black. No! It's a weird little blip that keeps happening. Not the end of the world, though. Absolutely fine. As we do get back on track, straight into it. Well, again, with the faster, Ling speed and everything, these Reapers cannot stick around for as long as they might usually like to. Oh, okay, it's kind of weird that this happens twice. Really, the Chinese side of things is just having a couple of issues, guys. So, again, that will be resolved. This is not you guys lagging; it's the clean feed just having a couple of issues. So, hopefully. Nothing too major, just a couple of blips here and there. Easily handled, easily gotten through. There's our Zerglings set up over on the edges. Cyclone's coming up, the stim pack is finished, and we do have a single Marine on the way as well. So continue to bring all that in. As we see, this cheeky little Overlord just trying to take some position in general. Serral has good map control. You look at the vision on the map, he sees everything right now. He's got vision absolutely everywhere he could need it, so yeah, he really does get to see everything he wants to. Cyclone's just gonna go firing up, and the Overlord will come by. And that roach run is about to finish up. We got ourselves a couple of drones still coming through. The Overlord and the Queen all coming in. A little bit of everything getting set up still for the moment. Well, that still continues by. Again, with our drones and our Queen continuing up. Continue to get this cell. The unit's going to come around the left-hand side. And get ready to move up this ramp, and into the base we go. A couple of lock-ons to jump onto a Queen or so initially. You have the other units just gathering together as we move back and forth just a little bit. Again, the lag coming up, the roach roar, and the few drones all coming in. A couple of additional extractors coming by also. As roaches move back in over here to deal with the incoming Cyclones and Hellions. Roaches defensively a hell of a lot. Obviously, that's where the Cyclones are meant to be good, but the Lings are coming through, and Speedy Lings chasing down a Speedy Cyclone in the acceleration zone. And the Serral is going to force this back just for now. So this will be defended. I'll drop in the main base. Secure. Definitely being a little bit more active this game, trying to be very proactive in terms of dealing damage and getting around. Obviously, with the roaches out as well, you know that they're a little bit less good defensively. So you're just going to try and take advantage of that as the Reaper comes around. The Marines will poke in once again. See a couple of those roaches still being chipped away at just for now. 11 drones going down, so the harassment overall is going to work wonders, and Serral is going to take some big hits. Economies are going to be evened out here, and these Reapers are not done. They are still chasing. Couple grenades go down. Low HP drones. We get a bunch of extra kills at the end. Actually, maybe just one or two, but felt like it was going to be a bunch. Now, Serral letting this damage slip through, and he's letting Cure back in this series. As early game, Cure is going to take an advantage. And Roach is going to try and chase down the center. We're once again trying to play into those missiles and the infestors. Well, we might be able to force late game here as Cell, which may be his best bet at this stage. Anything earlier is likely not going to go in his favor. He might just be able to try and play very defensive, build up into roaches, then the infestors, then the hydras and lurkers we saw last game. Could really imagine this looking very similar to what we saw previously. But obviously, this time it would be Cell with a little bit less of an advantage at the start of it. Maybe gives Kira a slight edge. Obviously should mean that it plays out a little bit differently altogether. Marines are going to try and find what they can. Again, the defense currently is just slow moving, so you get in, you get an overload or so. Little grabs, now Serral is supply blocked. And yeah, definitely in the deficit, definitely having to play this defensive, get back into the series game, or get back into the game kind of game. He's behind. And having to play catch-up as the fungal growth do come down, and this medevac drop will be denied, it seems. So that will go through without issue. See, any pressure you can get rid of right now should just make your life a little easier as well. Marines come through, Overlord will take some shots. Medevac loads up a few Marines, and we will begin to move back over the other side. Drones still being picked away at. Again, we got our Baneling Nest coming up, the Hive is coming through. Approaches the Ravager, 2-2 missile upgrades coming up also. Marines and the tanks is going to be fighting away. Also going to be seeing the medevacs coming up here. What's going to be chilling out is obviously we open up the map and we will be able to start pushing back some of this creep that has been established. Double humans begin to go down, and again the road tribe just sitting here. The Marines and the tanks getting pushed away for the moment as well. Files are nice. Any siege tank you get rid of is going to make your life that little bit easier here, at least for the moment, is Serral. So pressing forwards. The Serral actually has a counter-attack. I love that. Even anything that can maybe force the Terran to turn around or make mistakes could be a game changer for you right now. So it could be a big deal. You see these roaches coming over. You see some units pulling back. In the end, maybe these roaches won't get too much done. Again, Solaris feels pretty quick to pull back on as well. So we do exactly that. There's the 2-2. We'll finish shortly from Serral, so you will be powered up on full missile upgrades. He actually sends more roaches forward, so really just trying to take advantage of the situation. Try and move here, there, and everywhere in terms of making some more progress. Which is actually going to be able to rid these few Marines, which are overstimmed, so actually very badly hurt already. So that kind of sucks for them. We're just still trying to push up, and a few more of these Marines in trouble. And Q's supply is actually dropping quite heavily. So Serral is turning this harassment into a real changer of the game. You know, is actually now in the center of the map. These units are just undervalued in defense, and Serral pushes through these as well. Don't get me wrong, you still got to accept that Q is very much so in competitive supply range. But it does feel as though Serral is pulling Q around a little bit, and certainly you're playing to Serral's tune. How much longer until Serral does just fully take control of the game, seize control of the game once more? I guess that becomes my question mark as we continue through this. And a few more ghosts coming up. We got ourselves the +2 armor upgrade coming about as well. More Vipers coming out. The Hydrodent is still coming up also. Additional Lings and Banes continue through. Plans coming up, +1 melee and +3 carapace on the way in. Marines coming through as well as we continue to get ourselves settled down. If Q has to slow this game down because of that set of attacks, then that's been a success story from Serral as well. Because if this game slows down at all, I think Serral is the one that benefits from it. Being able to take what was not a pretty position in the slightest and turn it into something that now perhaps even looks good for him. Because you're playing later into this game and you're going to get more opportunities to take good fights, to take good trades, to outplay your opponent. And I think we've got to give a nod towards the fact that Serral has done everything he can to reapply his chances on Solaris after the early game was not super pretty. It's still going to be rough as we do see the Terran force pressing through. Once again, it's a counterattack from Serral immediately coming across the other side. Is already in position there, and once more you have to pull back as Q. So Q cannot attack without Serral showing up and ruining his plan by already attacking elsewhere. So again, the activity from Serral is doing a lot for him. It's again dragging him back in little by little. The Vikings are there, and the Vipers will be taking some big shots. So we'll take some big hits. T-Drop has a bomb. The Vikings committed for that Viper. That was not good, and we actually lose Vikings because of it. So again, a little win for Serral. Another one on the board. Ghosts coming through there as you have a fungal growth going down. A little bit of a strangled attack as Serral is still poised to come in from multiple directions at any point. Just going to be seeing a couple more pros of battles, but still trying to knock tanks down. Serral maintaining a slight supply lead at the moment, so everything's to play for. Absolutely. More Corrosive Vials. That Siege Tank not even sieged up is going to go down to a Corrosive Vials wave. With an Infestor here, does that have a chance to jump in and drop a good Fungal? Yes, it does. In we go. Fungal growth is very decent. The Roach Ravager is still coming about. We got ourselves the couple of snipes coming through. Hydras and Lings gather up still. +1 flyer attacks, +2 melee upgrade coming through. Again, tanks, Marauders, and Ghosts continue by. The +3 armor is on the way as well. Fire gathers back to the bottom. We still see ourselves +3 missiles coming up on the side of Serral also. Nice little duck through, and that's going to be a full medevac that goes down. Gear Supply is not hanging on anymore. A tremendous set of fights, one after the other from Serral, and he has really just carved himself. Again, just all the counterattacks really set this up as well. I think that was such a big part of this, just being able to counterattack so much throughout this. It's been a big factor towards the success story here. Medevacs gonna get chased. Hydras are gonna get a little bit of a push on those. The Hydras get the Medevacs pushed up on the top. You do get double abduct. More supply going down from here, and this really is just gonna continue to slip away from you right now. So, unfortunately, getting worse and worse and worse. And there's our Lingbane Hydra coming through. The orbital command setting up. Planetary Fortress building out in the center of the map, so we continue to bring that through. SCV's coming in. Oh, and you're going to be seeing a couple of units just running up over in this direction. So again, trying to see if we can get something over in that side. A few Hydras showing up, trying to get involved for a little bit. We're going to see more units jumping on towards this Planetary Fortress. So again, Serral feeling as though he can be a bit aggressive. He's got the bank to play with as well now, compared to what he had previously. So that's definitely a big plus in comparison to it before. 100%. I'm just going to try and dive on this army. There's no fungal nearby, otherwise that would have been amazing. Everything was clumped up right there. I just again escaped away. Just going to back on out for the moment or so. Once again, Serral able to take a chance to rebuild and go once more. This is basically a question mark of how much does Serral want to push this. Because obviously, at this point in time, Q doesn't have much of a bank, so if Serral just keeps forcing trades, would it be good? Maxed out armies right here. Serral still attacking into the defensive Terran, so again, you've got to really rely on your bank to be able to come through for you beyond these fights and to, again, have that rebuild really be meaningful. I wonder if it's time for Serral to, maybe stop pushing as aggressively. He is about to have a great Aspire. Maybe trading out some supply into Broodlords would be the play right now for Serral. Would be a good option. Three melee still coming through. The extra Lings coming about. The other Lings coming forward as well. Orbital command is going to lift off here. And 7 SCVs going down. So 7 workers getting picked away at just for the moment. More SCVs you get rid of, the tougher it's going to be for Q to re-establish the bank and re-establish control. As the Liberator tank siege continues to press on through here. And we continue to advance in for the moment. So making some progress. Scanning about. Serral already having that 12 o'clock base, by the way. It's just going to go untouched for the moment as Q does not put any attention onto it. So keep that in mind as well. That is about. Again, the Lings trying to get a little wrap around as we continue forwards. Counter-attacking once again. It's SCVs that are in trouble from the very get-go. Goal is in some trouble still, so again, damage being done. Another orbital on the right side is continuing to burn down. We have missile turrets firing up, and the Viper's taking damage already. Hydra's actually taking damage too as the tanks push this back. Still got some Lings trying to also fight forwards. I see a couple more Lings being picked away as they try and move on through. Interrupt is in production. Serral is making that switch, so he's decided now is the time to move into the Broodlords and maybe have one essentially finishing blow attempt on his opponent here. Broodlords are that kind of finishing blow. You don't really want to make Broodlords lose them and have to rebuild them. You want the Broodlords to really come in and be absolutely a high impact tech switch. And just going from there. Let's see if that may be the case. I think it's the right idea, because obviously the setup to deal with Broodlords on the side of the Terran is more or less non-existent. You're basically just using what you've already got. Obviously a few ghosts and so on can help, but it definitely ain't going to be ideal, to say the very least. Fire still pushing down to the center. Lings and Hydras coming through as well. We do have ourselves the 7 additional Broodlords. Make it 9 now, on the way up as well, plus 2 flyer attacks, still building through. That missile turret will shoot away at the Overseer for a little bit, so some damage dealt there. Hydras, Vipers, the Bane's coming through. I'm just going to be seeing this push still setting up. The Broodlords are here, and they can start picking away at the siege tanks, which have been such a big part of holding back the Zerg force. And now if you start losing your siege tanks, obviously that ain't going to be fun either. This just gets, like I say, none of this feels fun at all for Cure. Like, his supply is there. Let's see what he does against these Broods. Right now you lose a bunch of siege tanks. Hydra's on the right side, going to blow up that orbital. So that's a base going down as well in the bottom right from Cure. And he really needs to keep any sort of mining he can. He at least gets a bunch of the units in that bottom right side, but of course Serral is the player who can instantly rebuild more or less, so how much of an impact does that really have? Hold for us. Not too much of one. So doesn't mind that again. In the end, get pushed off his top base as well. Sakura is still fighting through a lot of these locations. Is there a world where Serral genuinely runs out of bases / mining, and this becomes unwinnable? Yes, I mean there is a world in which that happens. I'd still be kind of shocked if it was the way that it turned out, though. I feel like Serral has to make a few mistakes for that to come into play. Maybe a few too many mistakes. For Serral, that's realistically expected of Serral. The Thor's coming out. We do see the Marine count continuing through. Those coming up as well. And the Bio going to get there to turn those Zerglings around also. More Lings showing up with some SCVs. Drones still being chipped away at for now. And the Bio setting around to try and see what else is being done. For the moment, a couple of Broodlings pressing forwards. The Broodlord's still overhead. Going to go and jump in towards this hatchery. So hatchery is going to drop down as well. Libera is still getting set up across the board. A bunch more Lings, a bit of Hydra Bane in production right there, as well as you do have still Serral setting up to maybe come in from a couple different angles. There we go. These few Banelings are going to start wandering forwards. Overseers are boosting through. We're not going to really chase this. A couple of Thors are going to be very nice against those Broods, but maybe not if the Broodlords can get on top of the Thors immediately, because right now maybe the Broodlords could just kill those off, and then the Thors don't ever get enough done at all. Well, Broodlords continue to fight. The Ghosts do not find themselves too many snipes. There's a couple slipping through here, especially as the cloaking comes in. We're missing detection, so the Broodlords did get sniped away. Had a few extra Marines showing up from Kira. A last-ditched effort to try and save himself in this matchup, but I think it is just too far gone. I think we are too far away. As well, the last couple of Vikings and the Libera will chase down the Broodlords. We just need an Overseer to show up so we can get rid of these couple of Ghosts. They were about to run out of energy anyways, but man, they lasted a while. Hydras will show up to get rid of the Liberator and the Vikings, so the Broodlord chase down is not going to be substantial enough either. CC continues down the right, Lings continue to push forwards. Serral's army, well, definitely be substantial enough right now. This base shouldn't survive unless... can we have enough Terran here? A few Ghosts are mixed in. Okay, honestly, a few more Banelings at this point might just do it for Serral. He's actually very low on minerals. He's really had to go down to his final grasps of strength here to be able to get towards cleaning up. Libera is still siege. The Hydras and the Lings and the Banes coming through. That's just wanders forwards. The Link Hydra's still in the bottom right. Just gonna push forward here. A single Marine gets taken out. Again, just gonna see our Broodlords going after our Orbitals. So still just trying to find that Pyro in the bottom right, making a little bit of a push as well. And attacking forwards here, just going to be pushing straight through. A couple of medevacs get abducted in. In the end, we kind of knew that Serral was on his way to winning this, and he does get the GGs. And it is going to be Serral 2-0. Kira really got set up in a great spot early.